Namaste and welcome to Hindu Infopedia. Today we explore why Yogi Adityanath's most debated statements cannot be understood through politics alone, but only through a thousand-year civilizational lens. For many, his words sound blunt or uncomfortable. But when we step back and look at India's long historical memory and global patterns across continents, these statements begin to reflect deeper truths about how civilizations behave, survive, or crumble. Yogi Adityanath speaks from a worldview shaped by centuries of majority and minority behavior, by lived experience of cultural continuity and rupture, and by repeated historical episodes where demographic shifts directly affected safety and sovereignty. This memory is not emotional, it is empirical. It is what allows him to observe patterns that mainstream discourse often ignores. One of his most discussed remarks is the statement about 100 Hindus and 100 Muslims. While media framed it as provocation, the deeper argument is demographic safety asymmetry, something witnessed repeatedly over the last 1400 years. Across regions such as Sindh, Kashmir, Bengal, Malabar, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan, minorities remained safe under Hindu or secular majorities but faced decline when tables turned. And this is not unique to India. Similar patterns appear globally. The Yazidis of Iraq, Copts in Egypt, Buddhists in Rakhine, Jews in France's Seine-Saint-Denis, Tenini, Christians in Nigeria's Middle Belt, and Hindus in Bangladesh. Whenever demographic parity approaches, behavioral pressures rise and safety declines. This global pattern is what his statement points to, not communal hostility but civilizational realism. Another theme he often emphasizes is the targeting of women through deception, coercion, or forced relationships, what is popularly called love jihad. Across Pakistan, Bangladesh, parts of the United Kingdom, and regions influenced by extremist movements like ISIS or Boko Haram, women are frequently used as instruments of demographic expansion. India is not isolated from this trend. The targeting is not random. It focuses on the carriers of cultural continuity. Understanding this helps explain the urgency in his warnings. Yogi Adityanath also warns against what he calls narrative warfare, where influential figures unintentionally amplify foreign-crafted propaganda. His old criticism of a well-known actor was not about religion or personality, but about language that echoed international campaigns portraying India as intolerant. He was responding to the narrative, not the individual. Another major statement is that political Islam struck at the root of Sanatan Dharma. To many, this seems provocative. To historians, it is simply accurate. Political Islam, distinct from private faith, was a state doctrine built on expansion, legal uniformity, temple destruction, and religious supremacy. Temples were universities, cultural centers, land repositories, and symbols of sovereignty. That is why they were the first targets from Afghanistan to Kashi. This historical context is essential to understand why disputes around Ayodhya, Mathura, and Kashi are not just legal issues, but unresolved civilizational wounds. Mother Teresa, yoga and identity. Yogi Adityanath has also questioned the overlap between charity and evangelization. This is based on documented concerns that humanitarian work sometimes blended with subtle religious instruction. Similarly, when he says that rejecting yoga and Shankar is rejecting India, he is speaking of civilizational identity, not about personal faith. Yoga is not ritual, it is India's civilizational spine. Attacking it becomes a form of identity warfare. The bulldozer as a governance signal. The bulldozer has become another symbol associated with him. For critics, it signifies punishment. For Yogi Adityanath, it is a message to end decades of illegal construction, encroachment, and parallel authority structures that grew under political appeasement in many urban pockets. The bulldozer signals a shift from selective tolerance to uniform enforcement. The demographic 35% threshold. One of his lesser-known observations asks whether communal tension rises when minority populations reach roughly 25 to 35%. This is not a law. Only an inquiry based on patterns seen in regions such as West Uttar Pradesh, Mewat Malda, parts of Kerala, and internationally in Lebanon, Nigeria, and many European towns, where demographic change brought institutional retreat and rising friction. The civilizational thread that binds it all. When we look closely, these statements are not isolated controversies, but branches of one argument. Civilizations survive only when they recognize patterns, protect women, preserve cultural anchors, and enforce law evenly. They decline when historical memory is dismissed as fear, when demographic realities are ignored, and when identity is hollowed out in the name of neutrality. Whether we agree with Yogi Adityanath or not, understanding the civilizational context behind his words is essential to understanding India's present and future. Thank you for watching. If this exploration helped you see the subject through a wider lens, please like, subscribe, and stay connected. To read the full analysis, visit Hindu Infopedia.